conflicts have been with us since 2022. So in some sense, they are not new, although the intensity and the duration and therefore the extent of uncertainty and the impact they create can vary. So to some extent, one can say that the global environment today, whether it is political, economic or security, has become considerably more complicated and more challenging for growth. So not just for India, but for several countries, almost for the entire world economy, you can say downside risks are higher than potential for upside surprises. So that's the reality. But under these circumstances, I think India does indeed, given this backdrop, India does indeed shine as a relative bright spot. There is no doubt about that. Because not only post-COVID, we have sustained good to high growth rates. We also managed to do so by bringing down the fiscal deficit, by bringing down our debt, government debt. And that is now reflected in the fact that Indian interest rates are much closer to the US interest rate for 10-year government bond than at any point in time in the past. And that is a confidence or a certificate given by the financial market for India's macroeconomic and fiscal management. Now, in this environment, therefore, to be able to achieve an average growth rate of 6.5% is a very creditable achievement, and that looks like it has a very achievable prospect for India. Of course, we are trying, we are working hard, and we are interested in ensuring that we push this growth rate up to 7 and above. That's desirable. There is no question about that. But the global environment is not what it was before the 2008 financial crisis. Since then, things have become progressively harder. So in this environment, maintaining even a steady state of 6.5% growth rate while striving to push it higher is the kind of growth approach to economic growth that the Indian government is adopting.
So this, you said about the overcoming the post-COVID scenario.
Right.
But now just India-Pakistan conflict has ended, and we have got an upper hand in that conflict. So we believe this perception of strength is enhancing India's image as a stable and secure investment destination.
Yes, I think so. Definitely, there's no question about that. I think India not only dominating the recent duel with Pakistan, and also the manner in which India conducted itself in the global arena, in the diplomatic space, and the fact that India over the last several years, ever since Prime Minister Modi came to office in 2014, gradual opening up of multiple sectors, and now almost every sector in this country is open for automatic entry of foreign investors. More recently, we can talk about in the last few years, drones, space, defense, insurance, rising it to 100%. Now we talked about in the budget, we made announcement about nuclear energy being open for foreign investment, etc. So these are all very clear signs. That is the reason why gross FDI inflows has been steadily rising in the last several years. And more importantly, as I mentioned earlier, the India is a reliable investment destination is also borne out by the fact that we have been able to recover from the COVID pandemic shock much better than many other nations in terms of growth rate, in terms of job creation, and in terms of fiscal management. We have achieved all this while maintaining macroeconomic stability and fiscal stability. That is why, as I said, I'll repeat myself, India's 10-year borrowing cost has never been this closer to the US government's 10-year borrowing cost at any point in time in history. So these are all these constitute various developments that make India an attractive and reliable and profitable investment destination, both for portfolio and for direct investors.
How is the government leveraging this geopolitical edge?
It is leveraging it. That's why by opening up several sectors and by striking free trade agreements with multiple countries, our agreement with the EFTA countries, which includes Switzerland, Norway, Denmark, and also the neighboring country to Switzerland, if I get the name quickly. So these are all countries that are members of the EFTA group, and the agreement with them is primarily focused on investment rather than trade. So I think our government is leveraging this situation, the macroeconomic and fiscal stability India has, and its enhanced clout in the geopolitical space, by concluding free trade agreements and enabling that the Indian industry continues to become competitive, and Indian industry has an opportunity to be able to elevate its game and sell in international markets.
Given India's superior strategic position in this current conflict, how is this influencing defense-related industry growth, particularly under Make in India and our?
No, I mean, I may not be able to give you very precise answers, but generally what we have seen is that India-made equipment have acquitted themselves very creditably. And it definitely has come in as a morale booster and an important motivation factor to further indigenize production of security-related goods, because we know that in the geopolitical environment that is constantly evolving, we cannot afford to have supply chain vulnerabilities, uncertainties, and reliability of supply, etc., because relationships and considerations that nations apply are constantly shifting and changing, so we cannot afford to leave ourselves at the mercy of many suppliers. So we need to be very sure about the reliability, and one important source of reliability is, of course, indigenous production. So in that sense, this conflict has further reinforced the tremendous success India has achieved in the last 10 years in indigenizing domestic defense production and also boosting defense exports. So to that extent, I think this will be an important milestone in the progress we have already achieved in indigenizing domestic defense production.
Is there any economic plan to convert this strategic strength into defense export capability?
It's an ongoing exercise. We have come from nowhere to becoming a globally major important defense exporter. It will only further reinforce it. It is not a new development. It has been something that I mentioned earlier. It has been happening over the last 10 years.
How does India's upper hand in regional conflicts shape its approach to South Asian trade dynamics?
No, I mean, we are seeing that South Asia trade dynamics will continue to be, influenced and dominated by political considerations. Recently the new Bangladesh government is also that there are some change equations here. But what is happening is that India is therefore focusing a lot and able to achieve many more has been able to make headway with respect to BIMSTEC countries, and India is also now extending its outreach to Central Asia, to Latin and South America, etc. So yes, South Asia, in that sense, it is not realizing its potential because of the stance adopted by other countries, and they are unable to therefore leverage India's growth for their own growth. And therefore, India as a larger country in the region, while it is making its attempt to keep South Asia as a viable economic option in the future, it is currently diversifying its strategy and looking at multiple other geographies in the world.
Amid this tariff uncertainty, what more needs to be done to attract more investments and make India a stable alternative investment destination?
I mean, the investment always, India has become over the last 10 years a more attractive investment destination. That is evident in the share of gross FDI numbers coming in. And in fact, even the profitable exits we have been able to create opportunities for old investors is a sign of confidence in the Indian economy, because it is very important for investors to be able to invest and also take their money out whenever they want to take it out, and India has facilitated that. But going forward, in an environment that is becoming tougher and more uncertain, India will be able to stand out by continuing to invest in education and skilling, becoming a global hub for higher education, and creating tax certainties, simplifications, and last mile connectivity. These are all the ways in which, and more importantly, I think the pool of skilled labor will be a very, very important determining factor to continue to attract foreign investments.
Globalization efforts are being fragmented, and more countries are moving towards protectionism. Your thoughts on India?
I think we have always adopted a calibrated approach to many of these things. We have never been a follower of fashion. We have always done what has been in India's interest, and we will continue to adopt a mixture of openness where others reciprocate, and safeguard our interest where others don't. So in that sense, there is no one size or one strategy that applies to all situations and all countries with whom we have investment and trade relationship. It will depend. We'll match openness with openness, and protectionism on the part of others with our ability to safeguard our own national interest.